With gratitude, Melania Trump. Tears blurred Samuel's vision as he sat at his kitchen table, clutching the letter like a lifeline. For years, he had felt invisible. Now, someone with the power to act had promised to carry his voice. He set the letter beside Corporal Miller's old notebook, the one he had kept after delivering James's final words to his mother. For the first time, Samuel felt that maybe his promise to James was being kept. Leaning back in his chair, he whispered, "They'll remember you, brother. They'll remember all of you." 2 months later, headlines spread across the nation. First Lady launches initiative for veterans' families. Melania stood before a small gathering of widows, children, and veterans. "We cannot heal every wound," she said, voice steady. "But we can ensure no family of a fallen soldier ever feels abandoned." Behind her, Trump nodded. But everyone knew this moment was hers. Samuel watched on television, disbelief washing over him. His words, his story, had sparked this. The initiative provided financial aid to widows, scholarships for children, and community centers for veterans to find counseling, training, and hope. Reporters asked Trump what had inspired it. He pointed toward the crowd and simply said, "A veteran reminded us of our duty." Samuel sat alone in his living room, tears streaking down his face. For years, he had wondered if speaking up mattered. Now, he knew it could change lives. One morning, his phone rang. "Mr. Grant, the First Lady would like to invite you to the White House." He nearly dropped the receiver. The White House?" "Yes, sir." Weeks later, Samuel returned to Washington, cane in hand. Melania greeted him at the entrance herself. "Welcome." "Mr. Grant, this house belongs to the people, and tonight, it belongs to you." She guided him through quiet halls lined with portraits, history whispering from the walls. Finally, she led him into a small room where widows, children, and fellow veterans waited. "I wanted them to meet the man who reminded us all," she explained, overwhelmed. Samuel received their thanks, some with tears, others with embraces. For the first time, he didn't feel like a forgotten soldier. He felt like a bridge. Later, Trump entered the room, no stage lights or cameras, just a man extending his hand. "Samuel," he said, gripping firmly, "you caught me off guard that night, but I'm glad you did. You reminded me of something bigger than speeches." Samuel nodded. "With respect, sir, we don't need perfect speeches. We just need promises that live on when the lights go out." Trump's expression softened. "Fair point. I've asked my team to make sure this initiative doesn't fade. And Melania, well, she won't let it." Samuel chuckled, glancing at her. "I believe that." Trump leaned closer. "You may not realize it, but you've become a voice for many. Sometimes, one voice can move mountains." For the first time in years, Samuel felt pride stirring in his chest. Maybe his purpose was larger than survival. News spread of Samuel's White House visit. Veterans across the country began sharing their stories online. Hashtags like "Voices of the Fallen" and "Never Forgotten" trended. Communities organized memorials and fundraisers. Churches, schools, and small businesses rallied to support soldiers' families. Samuel's phone rang constantly. Families thanked him. Strangers told him he had given them hope. At first, it overwhelmed him. Then he realized it wasn't about him. It was about all of them. At night, he sat by the window, Melania's letter in his hand. Whispering softly, he repeated the same words, "They will remember you." Still, the scars remained. Nights were hardest. Gunfire echoed in his dreams. Faces of the fallen haunted him. At one public event, a boy approached. "Sir, are you the soldier from TV?" Samuel bent down slowly, leaning on his cane. "Yes, son, I am." The boy handed him a drawing of a saluting soldier. "My dad was in the army. He didn't come home. But I saw you talk, and it made me feel like my dad's still here." Samuel's chest tightened. He hugged the boy gently. "Your dad is always with you, and I promise you'll never carry his memory alone." In that moment, Samuel understood. Healing didn't mean forgetting. It meant carrying memories forward with honor. Months later, at Arlington National Cemetery, Melania addressed a gathering. Samuel sat in the front row. "A veteran once reminded me," she said, her voice trembling, that applause fades, but sacrifice endures. Tonight, we honor not just the soldiers, but the families who live with their absence every day. Your pain is not invisible. Your sacrifices will not be forgotten. She paused, then looked directly at Samuel. Because one voice reminded us all to listen. The crowd turned toward him. Some nodded. Others wiped tears. Samuel bowed his head humbly, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. After the ceremony, Melania approached with a small box tied in ribbon. Inside lay Corporal James Miller's notebook, preserved in the National Archives after Samuel had donated it years before. We thought it belonged in a museum, she said softly. But I believe it belongs with the man who carried his story. Samuel's hands trembled as he touched the worn cover. Memories of gunfire, laughter, and James's last night rushed back. Thank you, he whispered. This is everything, Melania smiled. It's not just a notebook. It's a reminder that promises can live on. As time passed, Samuel's health began to falter. Years of service and age weighed heavily. One evening, Melania called him personally. How are you, Mr. Grant? He chuckled faintly. Still standing, ma'am. Some days better than others. Promise me something, she said gently. Promise that when the burden feels too heavy, you'll let others carry it with you. Samuel closed his eyes. I promise, he realized then. His voice had sparked something larger than himself. Even if his time was short, the movement would endure. Samuel began visiting schools, reading passages from James's notebook to children. Heroes aren't only the ones who fight, he told them. Heroes are the ones who remember. The children listened wide-eyed, hands over their hearts. Teachers thanked him. Parents shook his hand. A little girl whispered, When I grow up, I'll help soldiers' families too. Samuel smiled. That's all I could ever ask. At a veterans gala, frail but determined, Samuel stood at the podium one final time. I interrupted a president once, he began, drawing soft laughter. But I wasn't speaking just for myself. I was speaking for the brothers who never came home, for the families left behind, for every soldier who wonders if their sacrifice mattered. And tonight I can say, yes, it does. Because we choose to remember. The crowd rose to its feet. The applause was not thunderous but reverent, an ovation for countless voices Samuel had carried. When Samuel passed away quietly in his sleep months later, the nation mourned. Veterans, families, strangers, all felt the loss. At his funeral, Melania stood before his flag-draped casket, tears shining in her eyes. She placed Corporal Miller's notebook gently inside, fulfilling Samuel's lifelong promise. This man carried the voices of the forgotten, she said softly, and because of him, we will never forget. The crowd was utterly silent. No applause, no cheers, only reverence, and in that silence, Samuel's mission was complete. His voice had become an echo in the heart of a nation,